Ukrainian forces ambush and destroy Russian attack group. Riding pickup trucks. Flying Soviet flags. It's an ominous development for Russia, but not necessarily a decisive one. Struggling to make good the loss of thousands of armored vehicles, the Russian military has long relied on unarmored vehicles, motorbikes, all-terrain vehicles, vans and trucks to carry infantry into battle. But the pickup truck and sedan assault outside the fortress city of Pokrovsk this week may have marked an inflection point. It was possibly one of the first significant Russian attacks where all the vehicles were civilian models. As a Ukrainian drone observed from on high, a platoon or company-sized Russian force assembled outside Pokrovsk, in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast, climbed into at least 7 trucks and cars and rolled toward Ukrainian positions. One of the vehicles flew an old Soviet flag. The outcome should shock no one. Russia's best armored vehicles are vulnerable on the shell-pocked, mine-infested, drone-patrolled landscape outside Pokrovsk. Its worst unarmored vehicles are even more vulnerable. Capturing Pokrovsk is a major objective for the Russians as their wider war on Ukraine lurches toward its 4th year. A large Russian force has been grinding toward Pokrovsk since ejecting the ammunition-starved Ukrainian garrison from the city of Avdiivka, 37 miles to the east, back in February. The Ukrainian garrison in Pokrovsk, anchored by a trio of Jaeger and airborne brigades, is badly outnumbered by a Russian field army with 8 or 9 brigades and regiments. But trading space for time and opportunities to bleed the Russians, the Ukrainians have knocked out around 2,000 Russian vehicles while losing just 500 of their own. The rising number of Russian armored vehicle losses over the course of this year may be impacting the offensive advancements on certain parts of the front line, according to the US-based independent think tank Institute for the Study of War, or ISW. Moscow has suffered extensive equipment losses this year, reaching a 2-year high in December, and the loss of armored vehicles, approaching 20,000, may be affecting progress in Kursk. The loss of armored vehicles for Russia is significant because it may impact Moscow's ability to continue fighting in the war with Ukraine, compounded with the country's growing shortage regarding manpower. As Russia has been unable to drive the Ukrainian military out of Kursk despite previous deadlines, this goal may be jeopardized due to the extensive loss of armored vehicles. The ISW reported that a social media source examining Russian military depots through satellite imagery found that Russian forces have 47% of their pre-war tank reserves, 52% of pre-war infantry fighting vehicle reserves, and 45% of pre-war armored personnel carrier reserves remaining in storage as of a recent unspecified date. The ISW's analysis also said that Russia has made extensive use of its older armored vehicles, including using all of their pre-war T-90 tanks and most of their T-80 tanks thus far, but still have most of their older T-72, T-64-62, and T-54-55 tanks in storage. The ISW added that certain areas of the front line, including Siversk and Kupiansk, which have seen less fighting in recent months, may have more armored vehicles than Pokrovsk and Kurakov. Russian losses of armored vehicles were high in the beginning months of the war, and then decreased from June 2022 to September of 2023, according to the armed forces of Ukraine's figures. Recently, Russia has accelerated its advance across eastern Ukraine in recent months, looking to secure as much territory as possible before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump comes to power in January. Russia said Sunday it had captured 2 more villages in East Ukraine, the latest territorial gains for Moscow's advancing army. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion on February 24, 2022, the Kremlin promised to take Kyiv in 3 days. Very few believed then, and some still don't, that a victory is even in the realm of possibility for Ukraine's modest military over Russia's mighty army. Turns out, the Russian army is not so mighty after all. Moscow has had to bring in 10,000 North Korean troops to reinforce its badly depleted ranks, and is relying on munitions and weapons from both North Korea. Russian forces have advanced in Kursk with the help of North Korean troops recently, and made gains in the southeastern outskirts of Dorino, the northern outskirts of Kruglenkoye, east of Novoivanovka, and southeast of Koronevo, according to the ISW's offensive campaign assessment on December 21st.
Давай! Давай, Бешов!
А в суботу відразу в гараж.